Rocky Top. Not so kind in the college football playoff. But for Rick Barnes and the Volunteers and Chaz Lanier, what do you think?
By the way, they got to fix that college playoff system. I mean, a home game for Ohio State for all the marbles, they're going to beat 90% of the teams. But we're going to go to Tennessee. So it was hard for me because they're playing so well. But if I had to say something, it would be more three-point consistency. It's three-point shooting. They've got two guys shooting over 40% in Lanier and Gainey. Lanier's bringing up records and beating records that we start hearing the name. You start hearing the name Chris Lofton after stuff you do. You doing your thing. But everyone else on the team is shooting under 30%. So that could be something to watch as time goes on. Someone is going to crack the code to beat them. And sometimes in the college basketball season, when the code is cracked, the season crumbles. So I don't know where they're going to find three-point consistency just because I don't see guys that are going to make them at a high level. But if I had a resolution, get the gun out, put some shots up, you're going to need three-point shooting in this tough conference of the SEC.
Jeff?
All right, so I don't know if you heard our podcast. Hummel and I had Rick Barnes on the other day. And Rick Barnes is known as the biggest practical joker in all of college basketball. One of the best, period. So Rick and I made a little pact to get Robbie Hummel. And my New Year's resolution is to Rick Barnes to live through on that promise. And the big thing with Barnes is, like, I've thought about getting him for years. Me and Mark Few were going to team up and get him about 10 years ago. And then people close to Barnes told me, Chris Ogden said, do not do it. If you get him, he is going to come back at you 100 times worse. Nothing is off limits. Whether it's your wife, your daughter, it doesn't matter. He will come after you at the highest level. So I want him to use that. I want him to use that type of emotion, and let's get Robbie Hummel at the highest level, Rick. So after the season, let's we'll huddle up, and we'll come up with the greatest practical joke ever on Robbie Hummel.
Ooh, I like that.
I like it. I like that. That's now that, and here's the best part. Robbie's not going to watch this, so he has no idea that this is happening. He'll never see it. So you just broadcast it to the rest of the world. The only way Robbie sees this is if Dalster or some clown sends it over to him. So my resolution for Rob is have a filter. Don't send it because Robbie's not going to see this, and they're going to get him very bad, and it's going to be epic, and it's going to go viral. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And maybe then they should have a statue of Rick Barnes before they build any statue of Robbie Hummel. That's the case. Look, Tennessee, I mean, Lanier's your bucket getter. You defended an incredibly high level. I think my biggest thing would be, like, I see Elite Eight. I could see, I absolutely see a path to the Final Four. It's just being able to keep your offense diversified. Don't stray away from Igor Milicic, because when he is productive and active and doing his thing, it changes the dynamic of how they can play, because they already have Lanier, Gainey, Ziegler. And for Zakai's only shot about 29% from three. So if I'm defending Tennessee, I'm saying, you know what, we'll live with Ziegler taking threes. So if I'm Zakai Ziegler, use that shooting gun here during the Christmas break, right? Work on yourself. Work on your shot making. Because if he's knocking down some shots, that makes them that much more dangerous. The fact is, though, there's not very much for the Volunteers to work on. They're damn good again, and I think it speaks to their program. We said coming into this year they'd be like 4th or 5th in the SEC, and right now you could argue that they're 1. And guess what? If you're arguing that they're worse than 2, that's because this league's so damn good, but they wouldn't be any lower than that because of how well they've played. They haven't lost. They're unbeaten. Has the schedule been a murderer's row? No. But you go to Illinois and beat a good Illinois team, an Illinois team that I think is a top 25 team.